Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Then Deanna just eats the entire thing, and she's like, "Why did you do this again?" And it's like, because it's fun for Gia, you know?
Yeah.
Gia we found like this mother load of like kitchen toys, though. Like all like the top tier Melissa and Doug sets with all like the wooden stuff. With,
I have
like,
not
the,
played anything.
like the
Queen's Dilemma.
cakes and pancakes and pizzas and stuff. You can put like different toppings on.
Wonder if we should talk about it a little bit
We have like a
before we
ice
finish
cream
it.
scoop one
Yeah.
that we just moved to the donate pile. If you are,
Or do you want to
interested.
wait?
We have an ice cream scoop
Okay.
one. That's really good.
I'd rather
Yeah,
wait because
but thank you.
I'm pretty tainted at this point in time.
Oh, really?
It's
Every
been
day,
pretty
like
brutal for
the
me,
kitchen's
so.
down in like our.
I mean, I think it's been
office.
brutal for me
So I hear
too.
Gia come down and like
I feel like it's been brutal to everybody
you know?
at some
Mhm.
point,
Yeah, it's so cute to see like a 2.5
in a way. But
It's like
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I've had the worst
"Okay,
game. I mean, I'm
okay, Now it
behind,
goes in the oven.
I've
Okay, now
had
we use
one
ketchup." You know,
game
they
that I
kinda mix
crushed.
I have lots of videos.
but like
Yeah.
other than that,
Yeah, usually I score like
How do people
4 to
do it
5
before
points.
like they had video cameras attached
So-
to their bodies? You know,
I think we're
Yeah.
kind of similar.
Yeah, I think I was like
It
2
is-
points.
But like,
got a couple of them.
I don't
just for
know.
the whole,
I'm along
You
for
gotta
the ride
remember it, I
mostly in the
guess. Yeah.
story.
Pretty
That's
good.
why I've been just trying to like push my guys' stuff.
I pushed mine all the way to the end, and
Then I got you.
like the last one, I'm going to go do the last one as fast as I can. It has to be amazing, otherwise it was not worth any of that effort.
Well, I'm about to try to kill the queen for you. So
I tried to seduce her, and that did not work.
oh, you can waifu the queen in that game. Funny.
Apparently not.
Oh, like it just automatically fails. You can't like.
he got.
I got it. Yeah, she is not happy with where I'm at now. She's making me do other stuff.
All right, we ready to read.
She did not lock
Yeah,
me in
man.
a trunk with a mask on, though. I'll tell you that. You know, so it's one step above that.
There you go.
Oh, is that a current events joke? Because I don't really know what happened the other day with like Haydn and stuff.
No, it's not. It's just a gimp joke.
Didn't Trump like Haydn?
Trump went into the catering container that, you know, they like scissor lift up to the plane and then
Yeah.
unload all the food or whatever, and snuck out with no one of importance because there was a bomb threat for the plane.
Oh,
There was a credible like missile strike, basically.
yeah,
Like,
which like in one sense, like he doesn't have to just like die, but like it's kind of a goofy way to do the whole thing.
yeah, I mean, he basically sent
Like the rest of his people.
the chief of staff, the Secretary of Defense, like a whole bunch of other people, all the press corps into a plane that that
was pretty bad.
yeah. instead of just being like, yeah, we're not leaving, you know.
Yeah. You guys remember when like the entire Polish, like all of the top politicians in Poland all got on the same plane and it crashed and they died? And
Yeah,
then
they're not-
Poland of all countries, like hundreds of years of Polish jokes, and then like their president, vice president, their families, then the next three in line all got on the same plane and it crashed and they all died. Which is like, they already have that joke, you know, like why don't the Polish have like glass bottom boats in their navy or whatever, so they can see the Polish Air Force. You've heard that one?
I have not heard that one.
Jesus.
There's the other one where the Polish guy goes into the shop and he's like, "Hey, can I get a Polish sausage?" And the guy goes, "Ah, you're Polish, huh?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, you ordered the Polish sausage." And he goes, "Well, yeah, but a guy can order sauerkraut. That doesn't mean he's German. A guy can order French fries. That doesn't mean he's French." And the guy goes, No. It's because this is a hardware store." It's the other Polish joke that I like. So there you go. Not that I have any strong feelings about Polish people, actually.
Fun fact: Poland is one of the most homogenous countries on earth.
I mean, Poland's kind of having like a moment as far as like geopolitical, what's the word? Like there's a lot of attention on them right now, you know, because all the ways they're like differing from entirely the rest of Europe, right, with their policies and stuff. We ready to hit this, Timmy?
Whenever you are, man.
Sorry for calling you Timmy.
You're good.
Okay.
He
there we go.
prefers Timbo.
Call me whatever you
Timbo.
want.
I always call him the K-Man. I think I've
Yeah,
been calling
yeah.
you the K-Man for
Yeah,
like
for
a long time.
yeah.
Yeah. Which is okay, right?
Yeah, totally
That's
good.
good. Yeah. All right, here we go. How to save a world. A competitive game. Oh, they put a competitive on there so you know that it's not like a cooperative game. A competitive game of averting calamity. The planet Alaria, many light years from Earth. It is a paradise of unique alien wildlife. But danger... Oh, so we're not even on Earth in this game. But danger looms on the long-range sensors. An asteroid dubbed Leviathan hurtles closer, dooming it to certain destruction. 3 project plans quickly form. First, a powerful laser to shatter the asteroid before it strikes. Second, an energy shield to deflect it from its course. Third, a massive wildlife evacuation to the nearby moon. All 3 projects have potential, and the asteroid response teams on Fortuna disagree on the best path forward. You lead one of those teams, working relentlessly to find the balance of effort that will prevent this calamity. Maybe you will be the one to figure out how to save a life. You guys remember that song?
Tonight on the board,
Was that
boys.
5 for Fighting?
The Fray.
The Fray. Everyone knows I'm in. That's the same band, right? But different song.
I don't know that song.
Yes, you do. Everyone knows I'm in over my head,
Cable Car.
over
Yep, also The
my
Fray.
head. It's 8 seconds. Honestly, those songs are kind of cool. They sounded like lame songs in like the early 2000s.
Are those 20 years old now?
Yeah, oh yeah, they're definitely 20 years old. But they sounded lame because like rock was cool 20 years ago. But now in comparison to what we get on the radio, those songs are pretty good, right? Anyway, that's my thought.
I wouldn't call them good.
I'm saying in comparison, but also, and I know we're doing like just a straight cold open to the podcast. I also heard that song from that goofy guy. He was like, 10 million lightning bugs, give me a lot
Owl
of
City.
hugs. Owl City. And I heard that song and I was listening to it and
I
I
think
was
it's
like,
Fireflies, though.
yeah, right. He was talking about like 10 million fireflies, sad and hate goodbyes or whatever. I heard that song and I was like, I kind of like this song now after hating it for 20 years. And so I looked the dude up and it turns out he did a ton of the sounds for one of the iPhones. So there's one iPhone that has a bunch of Owl City sounds. So there you go. Anyway, I think I'm coming around on the bad music of 20 years ago. I think just get us better than whatever we're getting now.
I think it's a heart medication.
It could be the heart meds.
Today on the board, boys.
How to Save a World.
How to save a world.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Board Boys Podcast, Season 19, Episode 3. Tonight on the podcast, How to Save a World. This is your board boy. What's that in the sky, Rob?
This is your boy, Only Black Cubes, TK.
This is your boy, B-Zerg, Jake.
And this is your boy. What other 20-year-old band do I kind of like now? I don't know. There's not another one that I can think of. This is your boy, Shield Boy, Shield.
Laser
Shield. The Laser Shield. Boinker McDoinker, a.k.a. Cam, a.k.a. Daddy Dose. Brought board girl Gabby on the episode for the first time ever. She's asleep.
Crashed out.
Crashed hard.
Like that meteor.
That's true.
Quick thought. I have a couple thoughts as Cam was reading the background of this. One, if a planet is destroyed, could life continue to exist on a moon that was orbiting a planet that no longer exists? What happens
100%.
to the
Well, I don't think
what
the planet
happens to
gets
the moon?
destroyed.
It's
I
not
think
orbited anymore.
it just destroys
there
the
would be no
ecosystem.
gravitational pull to hold it to where it was. So how does
I
it?
don't think the meteor's like completely obliterating the planet.
Yeah, it just
right?
kills all life on it throws the ecosystem out of whack.
Question. And then also, do we assume that this is space exploration humans have landed on this planet and made it? Because otherwise, the odds of them also naming a climate Leviathan and having the same lore
I do think that.
to lead to that.
I think it says many
that would be
light years from
wild.
Earth, so I think this is supposed to be humans.
Okay.
Many years in the future, and it looks like the tech is good enough where they're not worried about whether people can get off the planet. They're worried about whether or not the fauna can get off the planet. Right, is what they're saying. So they're really trying to save a world, not the population. I don't think of humans on the planet. Because and so I wondered why there were all like those animals. I was like, what am I doing with these guys? And the animal cards.
Right. Well, yeah, the green cards are all animals that you're rescuing, essentially.
Oh, and these are humans because I had a card I saw a card that was just a seagull. Somehow is what it said. It was just an Earth seagull that must have gotten on one of the ships over there. So
I am reading the new book from the guy from where I have read from the Expanse or whatever.
I'm reading The Expanse right now. I never read it
Expanse is
before.
good. Yeah, Expanse is good. There is a lot of like weird in the middle books that I did not read. So
The novellas?
the novellas, there's like a bunch of 3.5.
I think those are all the novellas.
Yeah,
There's like 13 of them
Yeah,
or something like that. 9. I don't know. They're short, pretty short though.
I usually never read those, but either way, like it's about humans. I believe probably maybe from the Expanse that have kind of gone into other worlds that are kind of mixed fauna. So like it would be like squirrels and some sort of alien thing, and then they're basically they get caught out because the scientists there have kind of figured out the two different species of life and how to meld them together, and an alien race comes in and is like, we're going to take you and we're going to use you to do that for all of our stuff. And it's very
Sounds interesting.
I like it a lot better than the Expanse. So it's
That's
in the
cool.
middle of coming out.
Yeah, I should check the Expanse out. I've only ever played the board game.
Yeah, I think I played. Was it you and me that played it with Jason one time?
I don't know. I played it at BGG Con.
There's
a video
game
long
coming
time
for it, too.
ago.
I played it with Jason at Arkham Games once upon a time. He's like, "Hey, I got this game about the Expanse." I'm like, "Oh, that show?" And he's like, "No, it's books." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, whatever, let's do it."
I mean, it's both, right?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
assuming it
both.
was books first.
It's
Books
both.
first, yeah. And the show gets weird.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Well,
It's
What-
like any of those book shows where the books aren't done yet, so they have to start
No,
making stuff up.
the books were done, but
I think its network dumped it, and then I
Yeah,
heard Jeff
Amazon.
Bezos was a big fan and was like, "You're going to finish this to
Yeah.
Amazon," and then that's why they finished this.
Amazon, but they've combined some characters, and one of the actors was not very good with underage girls in the middle of the filming, so he got booted off, and they kind of filled his
Oh no!
with different roles. So yeah, so I never finished it. The book's great.
I might have to dip into the books then.
It's cool.
Is there a lot of them?
9,
8, 9, yeah.
9,
Yeah.
and then like 13 novellas.
Are they long?
400 to 500 pages probably a piece.
Okay, so not bad.
They're not terrible. I don't think that they're not, despite being sci-fi, they're not heavy, like slow reading. Like they're pretty accessible, I think. I'm enjoying it.
They're very action
Cool.
sci-fi.
Yeah.
There's like stuff all the time, just going all the time.
Okay,
So, yeah.
I mean,
That's accurate.
I think when I read Red Rising,
Be
that was
pretty
kind of like
similar.
that. Well, the first trilogy was good. The second trilogy was kind of a slog. I don't think I ever finished it.
I haven't read them
But
You guys ever read the Berenstain Bears?
twice.
A lot of those.
is it the Berenstain Bears?
It always has been, dude. At least I'm from the planet where it's Berenstain Bears, because my
Okay.
parents always called them the Berenstain Bears. And so when I'd hear people go, the Berenstain Bears, I was like, oh, my parents are saying that wrong. And then there was that whole thing where it's like, I look at the book and it's like, no, it's Stain. And people go, no, I've always known it as the Berenstain Bears and, Mandela effect. And I'm like, I always heard Stain, so I'm from the bad planet or whatever that you guys collided into,
Yeah.
I think. And also I remember Shazam, not Kazam. So I'm from that. I think I'm from the planet you guys all hate living on now, like where it's just normal for me. And like you guys, like, I can't weigh in on the Fruit of the Loom cornucopia because I remember it, but like I'm not tied down to that one. You know what I mean?
Which one was the one with Shaq?
Shazam.
Shazam.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry. Kazam had Shaq.
Yeah.
Well, that's
and,
right.
and I
And
remember
Sinbad was the other
Kazam.
one, right?
And then people think it was Shazam with Sinbad, and I do not remember that.
No, I remember that one too.
You think it was both?
I think there's both.
I just know it was Berenstain Bears, but I understand it's not. That's just what I always said. So the Mandela effect
I
is
never
real.
thought I never thought Nelson Mandela was dead. I never thought Berenstain Bears were Berenstain Bears. I never thought that, again, what was the other one I said? Kazam was Shazam.
Well, you're
So-
just a higher evolved person.
No, not
Cam.
higher evolved. I think you guys were higher evolved, but your planet crashed into our, lizard brain timeline where everything sucks, At least that, I think, would be I don't think that people are happy that they, the things they remembered aren't true,
Nelson Mandela is dead. Do you mean you didn't think he
Well,
was?
no, the Mandela effect is it was called such because at the time he was alive and people thought he was dead.
Gotcha.
But
you
he
just
is,
said he's not dead. And I was like, what?
no,
But he is
in my
dead.
timeline,
I gotcha.
he was not dead when the Mandela effect was named. So
I'm following.
Yeah.
Before we get too far into the podcast, I want to remind everyone at the time of this episode airing, there are a couple days left in the Revenant Contest. If you go to theboardboys.com/giveaway or giveaways, just go to the website and find the link from there. Anyway, there's only like 20 entries so far, so you have a really good chance
Yeah.
of winning a super expensive game.
That's awesome.
I might sign up.
Just get out there and do it.
My kids, Gia's gonna win it.
Just want to let everybody know that will still be open for another couple of days. Once again, thank you, Nate Simons, for providing that copy.
That's awesome.
I want to jump into a game I've been playing called Way Too Many Cats. And came out in 2024. It is from Weird Giraffe Games. The designer is Carla Kopp. And the artist is Jay Bell, Ilse Hines, and MG Patino. And actually, we played with games with Jay Bell, if you remember from BGG.
I know J Bell. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool guy.
So, in Way Too Many Cats, it is a drafting game about cats. It's super accessible for kids, and it hurts my brain in a lot of different ways. Basically, there are kitten tokens, and there are toy tokens. There are these little round circles. And then there are these square cat cards, and there's always 4 cat cards available. And there's always 3 groups of tokens, a big group, a medium group, and a little group. And every time you take a cat card, you take a set of tokens, and then for the ones you don't take, you always add one token to every group. So basically, a group will start growing until someone ends up taking the big group of tokens. And the reason why you might not always take the biggest group is if you take the biggest group of tokens, you have to take one card and it has to be the rightmost card. If you take the smallest group of tokens, you get to take 2 cards anywhere you want. And if you take the medium group of tokens, you can take 1 card anywhere you want. So it's a balance of what cards do you want versus how many tokens do you need. And a lot of your cats score points based on where they are in your tableau. A lot of your cats score points because they have to have toy tokens on them. And then your kittens score points for there's like a board where you can put all the kittens, and I think there's like 9 of them. And if you get 4 of a kind, that's worth so many points. And then a column of all the different kittens are worth 15 points. But you can't score a kitten for a column and a row. It's got to be one or the other. Now here's the catch. At the end of the game, any kittens that are unused in groups are all minus 2 points. So there's another action you can take where you can spend unused toys to kind of put them in your tableau, and then they can be used for every type of kitten scores differently. So this game looks super cute, but it can be really mean a little bit as far as scoring goes. And if you don't really think or know what you're doing, or especially with taking all the kittens, you can really find yourself like drowning in kitten tokens. Anyway, the game's super cute. It plays like in 20, 30 minutes. If you like cats and you like tableau building kind of puzzles, I'd give it a shot.
Sounds like a lot.
It's not.
Okay.
It sounds fun. I'm a cash guy now. I'm so cash these days.
Bo really likes it, and he's not into like really super complex stuff. So he just likes to collect, like all the cats have names, and it's just cute to collect them, and it's got an adorable factor.
Nice.
Should I do the rundown the first part of the rundown that I want to do?
Get
Go
it.
for
So
it.
I don't want to. Last time I took up a bunch of time, did the whole summer of games, but this time I'll split it into 3 episodes because I got like the first 10 or so ever. Today's August 15th, 14th, and so I'm not going to talk about like all the way up to the 14th from BGA Summer of Games. They're releasing a game that's been in like alpha or beta every single day for 30 days, and this is so far my favorite one. And I'll do it over 3 episodes. Let's just do the first like 10 to 12 days. So 62 Days of Summer, I think, or 62 Sons of Debt or whatever. It's one of those, it's this guy's been making roll and writes about like the days of different seasons. This one is about summer. And if you've played any of them, it's like basically exactly the same as all the other ones. It's got a fun roll and write mechanic where you roll 3 dice. And then the first die you choose is based on you can write in the area of that die, and then the second die you choose is the number you write in the spot, and then the third die is the number you add to your running total of days, and the game ends when somebody hits 62. So like if you're leaving big dice behind, you're going to end the game quickly. And we had a great time with that one. I would play it again. It reminded me of all the other ones. Had a couple little differences that made it different, but if you're familiar with these, it's another good one. Dragonarium is the next game. This is one of those classic spatial shim games where you're like building up, and then like sometimes you have to like stick a shim into the spot. I got a kid waking up here. 1 second. There we go. Classic. You're putting King Domino style tiles onto a board, and then every time you play a tile, you get to move your little helper clockwise around your board according to the number of the biggest size of the land mass color you're choosing. So like if I have 4 green squares, I'll go 4 spaces around the board, possibly playing 4 green dragon eggs. Or if I have 3 red spots, I can do 3 spaces around the board, possibly laying 3 red eggs. Basically, you look down the column, and if there's a spot or row, and if there's a spot to play one of those eggs, you do. And then once the eggs are filled on your tiles, you can place tiles above them, hatching dragons. And then whenever you hatch a dragon, you put a dragon on a spot you want, but it counts as a spot of 2 colors now. So now I can make like bigger color areas. But the kicker is that I can never place a tile over the spot where I place a dragon ever again. And you get points at the end of the game. I don't exactly know the rubric, but it's based on like the largest area you have multiplied by like how high up off the ground it goes. But like I think you also get some points for how many dragons you hatched as well, which is the part of the rubric I don't quite know. Dragonarium's cool. Isle of Cats Duel. If you've played Isle of Cats,
I played that one.
This is a little different. And the one thing I will say about it, I think I like regular Isle of Cats better because of the drafting. But the thing I really liked about Duel is you get a lot more cats. And so how you build out your board is more important. And my biggest gripe with Isle of Cats is you never get enough cats in that game where like the actual spatial portion of Isle of Cats really matters because you have so much empty space left over in the original game. And in this one, you don't. So I think that's pretty fun.
It's been a long time since I played it, but what is the thing about where you stop is where you activate?
So you move a pawn around like a board, and basically whatever you move over or land on, you can take one of those things. And it could be like a scoring card or it could be a cat or whatever. But you just end up getting way more cats, which is I think good for the puzzle portion of the game. But the moving can get kind of stale because like the board fills up like 3 or 4 times that you're moving around, but people can just like kick away and not take anything and like keep you from getting stuff. At a certain point, it just gets kind of annoying. But you can use fish to kind of wiggle around where you're trying to go. But it's Isle of Cats is half-baked. Isle of Cats Duel is half-baked, in my opinion. Both cool games. I'm waiting for Isle of Cats 3 that brings
Isle of Penguins is coming out next summer.
Oh, there we go. So Isle of Penguins. Board Boy Rob is going to like what day 4 is. Slambo!
Slambo rips.
So Slambo is a game where you are playing cards like higher or lower. And if you go above or below 10, you get thrown out of the ring and you experience shame. I think this game probably works better as a 2-player game than like a 3-4-player game.
100%.
Because there's no winner in Slambo in a 4-player game. There's just a loser.
I mean, I like games like that.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of fun. But yeah, we're still having a good time with Slambo. And then you can be like, no, don't Slambo me, man. And, you know.
Cockroach Poker is the ultimate. There's one loser
that's
game.
True. And I guess you can just play multiple games of Cockroach Poker, like you kick somebody out. But then they're just sitting there being sad.
It's definitely a back and forth 2-player game for sure.
Yeah. Under the Leaves is my favorite so far. This game is like settling the dispute on Calico and Cascadia, in my opinion. Like, they take cool things about both of those. So you're drawing a tile, and you place it up next to other tiles, and you're trying to make areas of like 3 or 4 tiles. Basically, there's 4 colors, and if you make areas of 3 or greater, you get to put a little piece down on it, like the Calico cats, and that's worth 1 point. But then if I make a different area of the same color and get to place a piece on that, I now can place another piece on the original one up to how many spaces I have. But then on top of that, with those 3 colors, you have like 3 little like forest dweller characters that have different ways they score. And then on top of that, you also get to place like special bonuses on your tiles if you like complete objects like each on a tile, each of the areas that tile belongs to has a dweller on it, and then you get an additional point. And the nice thing is, everything you do can like get like a bunch of little dudes on it, but all the dudes are just worth 1 point at the end of the game. So no matter how you're building out, if you're building and just putting a lot of stuff on, you don't have to worry about like what you're good at. You just get 1 point per thing you do. And you can like, so it's a game about like solving multiple, reasons to place a guy down per turn, just like Calico. But you just keep building out like Cascadia, so you're never like, this breaks my, what I was trying to do. And so I think it's really, really good. And that's my favorite one so far. Under the Leaves. Would highly recommend checking that one out on BGA. The accounting might be a little weird in real life. I haven't played in real life yet. So Gabby is trying to take the microphone. Do you want to talk about Calico? You can make some noise. Okay. She tried. Pericles. I don't know how to play this one yet, so I'll leave that for the next time. Reef Gardens is cool. Have you guys played Reef Gardens? This is another spatial game where every turn you take colored reefs off of a supply board, and you pay 1 coin per reef, and you choose like a row or a column of them, basically. And then you will put them around the board next to like these stations that when they get like filled around like a cloister in Carcassonne, whoever has the most adjacent groups of reefs, like the total number of reefs, will score like a big number. The other one will score a small number. But you run out of money for buying the reefs, and you have to like surface your guys. And if you surface your guys before they score, those reefs don't count for you scoring, but they bring you money and points every time you surface dudes too. Then there's like additional like things you can pick up down when people are diving, like these shells that give you like special abilities. Really cool hybrid between a spatial game and a Euro game. So that's Reef Gardens. Probably my second favorite so far. Snorkeling is a card game where some of the guys think it's cool. I think it's like a little bit like just a kind of an exercise where you're just trying to play cards to make other people's cards go lower. And then when somebody goes to 0, then everybody gets points for how high their cards still are, which is you want to have high cards. Natural Chaos, it's a connect 4 where you have 4 boards and you're trying to connect 4 on one of them. And you can swap your pieces with other players' pieces. Kind of reminds me of like the GIPF sort of game series, but like with a little bit better paint job. Nucleum, we did a review on Nucleum, right? Is the mod for it's great. I'm starting to like Nucleum again after being kind of down on it when it came to alpha because I sort of forgot how to play. Not quite as good as Barrage, but still cool. But go check our episode on that one. 2 more. Bower is a bird nesting game where it's another spatial, like filling a board one-on-one game where you're taking tiles and the way you play them, it's kind of like King Domino, but there's also, you're trying to, like, you get points if you have the most of something in a column on your side of the board that column wants. And so basically whoever scores the most, like, requests out of the 6, and then also whoever has the biggest patch of each type of the terrain you can place will get a point for that. And so basically there's 9 points available. Whoever has more points wins. And then we'll go to 12, Terraforming Mars, the dice game. Hey, it's Terraforming Mars that probably plays in like 45 minutes or whatever. What's not to like? You're rolling dice. I love dice games. I love Terraforming Mars. And I haven't finished a game of it yet, so jury's out, but there's 12 games. You'll notice that not a single one of them is a 2-player trick-taking game. Like BGA loves to throw on these 30-day things like 5 times in a row.
Slambo is pretty close.
But it's not trick-taking.
It's not.
It's its own thing.
It's a teeny card game.
And I love to, like, I'm not complaining about card. Like, I just like variety when they do these things. And so when like so many of the games are like really similar, that's kind of sad. But this is a great variety. Although it's quite a bit of spatial, which is probably why I love it so much.
Yeah, and it seems like, I mean, a lot of those have been out in alpha for a long time.
Did I miss a day? That's funny. When I just realized I invited all the guys to games of Bunny Kingdom Duel instead of Isle of Cats Duel. And Bunny Kingdom Duel is awesome if you guys haven't played that one yet.
That's the one we played?
Yeah, Tim and I played it once.
It's fine.
Yeah. I'd rather just play Bunny Kingdom, I think.
Well,
I understand
they're
different.
very different. Mm-hmm. And Bunny Kingdom is way better, in my opinion, too. So
I wasn't super hot on it the time I played. The game I want to talk about is Fliptoons Season 2, which is also on BGA. I think we've talked about Fliptoons before, but this is basically just another set of cards. You supposedly can mix and match them with the Season 1 stuff or just play them by themselves. People were recommending like a variant where you actually had like 2 deck rows and you played like Season 1, Season 2. Anyway, I could see if you put them together, it would like really dilute some of it because some of like the fish in the new one are better if you have more fish and if you just don't see the fish. But basically Fliptoons is you shuffle up a deck of cards, you flip up 6 cards in a 2x3 grid, you generate a certain amount of money, you use that money to either dismiss cards for $5 out of your deck or to buy a new card from the card row. And then you keep doing that until someone can generate $30 and they get a $3 bonus going into the final flip. And then you do the final flip and whoever has the most money during that time wins. Game's 20 minutes long. It's super fun. Like, I think all the new cards are neat.
Do they just mash together or do you pick like a set?
I mean, like I was saying, you can mash them together if you want, but I think it would really dilute it. There's these new, in the new deck, there's these fish cards that do better when there's more fish in your tableau.
Oh, sure.
So,
but would you could you pick like cards from Season 1 and Season 2 and smash them together?
Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't.
Make like a cool set. Okay.
And I think there's like dogs from the first season, which you want to have different kinds of things out in your tableau. So I guess if dogs would be really good if you mixed all the sets together because then you'd have more different stuff.
But is it like Dominion where they'd recommend like having like a certain like amount of cards? Or
I didn't really read that in the rule book. I think it's kind of do what you want. But
Fliptoons?
Yeah, if you haven't picked one up, Season 1 or Season 2, they're both good.
And they're both on BGA.
All right, I have 2 quick ones that I'm going to run through. The first one is Enchanted Ivy. This was the additional game that came with Mountain Goat's Legacy. It is a 1-player only game. The designer is Sarah Joshua, and so then it is from Allplay. I believe this is the only game that they have designed. So basically what you're doing is you are, on your turn, you will draw 2 cards. You're going to play one face up as a balcony and one face down as just ivy that is growing on the house. Each scenario that you play gives you a the shape that you're going to build your, I guess, the shape of the inn where everybody's staying in, and then you'll have two people that you place on whichever card you made be the balcony. And so each of the different guests that come to stay go into a bag that you draw out, and they all have different scoring criteria. So the thing I think I like the most about it, and is very much a thing that I am into in solo games, is it gives you not only a this is how you win, but these are some challenge goals, and it even additionally gives you like a, hey, this is a high score to strive for. It is really short. I would say 15 minutes max to play the game. So it's really, really quick. It's really snappy decisions. There is a ton of strategy and also tactics, because you can kind of think about where in the scheme of your design you want certain guests to be for how they're going to score. But then the cards you draw with how the IV aligns, and then the guests you draw out of the bag, you don't have any control over that. So it's nice as well that there's always two that you have out, so you can have one that you keep in your queue and you have another one that you play. And as a result of that, you can kind of save up the person that you want to get to a certain spot. So that kind of mitigates some of that randomness. But I really, really like it. It gives you this little cardboard fold out that not only you put like a little caterpillar sticker on if you beat it, you put a butterfly sticker on there if you get the high score, and then on the back there is like this trophy case. And when you accomplish those individual missions, you then put stickers in rows that you unlock additional stuff that can help in the game. It's really, really neat. I'm a really big fan of it. I think I've played through all of the first booklet. It gives you 2 booklets, and then there's an expansion that gave you a couple other scenarios. But there's also an endless mode where you're just playing with a variety of different guests, but every one of the guests scores differently, and it's kind of fun to mix and match how you can make them align with each other versus what you just have to do on a turn. So if you like solo-only games, especially ones that don't have a lot of maintenance, I know we were just on the Discord complaining about some that are really complicated with how you manage things. This is like the ideal solo play for me. So I highly, highly recommend it. It's Enchanted IV.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, I've opened that box about 4 times now, and I still haven't played it.
Yeah, there's a lot of components because there's so many guest cards and things.
Yeah.
I printed a little insert for it that I think makes it a lot easier to get out. You just kind of put in a line all the people, and then I just made that match the order of the cards so I could just quickly get the ones out I need.
And I guess I haven't read the rules yet, but is it kind of like a story game
yes,
a little bit?
But not like nothing changes based on like decisions you make.
Okay.
But each scenario is like, these are the guests that are coming here and this is what you're doing. And so then based on who those guests are, it gives you different parameters for where they want to be. So like there's this one knight that wants to take a warm bath, so he doesn't want anybody on the same floor as him to like see that he's in the bath. Or there's these 2 lovers who are star-crossed, who they want to be on the same floor and not have other guests on the same floor as them. So there's all these different criteria that do it. But again, really, really, really like it. I'm super happy that it was kind of the throw-in for Mountain Goat's Legacy. Okay, the other one I want to talk about is an old one, so I'll be pretty quick. I know I've talked about it before. It's Polynesia. The designer is Pierre Sylvester. It's Ludanova. It came out in 2020, so it's been out for, 6 years. It is, basically the idea is you're on an island. That island has a volcano that's going to erupt. You got to move your people out. And so you're going to score points for how many people you get out of the danger zone. And then also there are cards that come up that kind of modify how you score points. I just really, really love the way the game works turn-based. So there's always a 3, a 2, and a 1. And so all of the actions you take, whatever round that is, the 3, the 2, or the 1, that's either how many actions or what the cost of something is. So there's this really interesting dynamic of things that might have an input cost. You might want to do them early, but then it's more expensive if you wait till later. Whereas there's other things that, again, you just aren't as worth as much later if you wait. So it's just a really interesting push-pull dynamic. And then the cards that come out each game, so there's 3 decks. I would say there's probably 5 cards in each deck. Those fundamentally change the way things score, so it keeps it pretty fresh. So I hadn't played it in a while. I took it on a little family vacation we had at the beginning of July, and I got it played a couple times, and I still really, really enjoy that one. It is, I think it's pretty criminally underrated. I think it's a 6.7 on BGG, but it's real good. I really, really like it.
Yeah,
it's quick.
I played that with you 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember liking it, I think. I don't know. I'm looking at our score. It was you and Campbell tied with 23, and I had 14.
You score pretty low. That's actually pretty high. I feel like there's games where I played it and you get like 10 points.
Okay.
So it's
we must have crushed it then.
We must have.
Which one was this?
Polynesia.
Oh yeah, the game was cool.
Yeah, it's a good one. I'm a big fan of it.
I just want to hit one more quick one. It is Off With Their Heads! It is from Druid City Games. The designers are J.B. Howell and Michael Mielsick, and the art is Manny Tremblay. If you look at the box, you're going to be like, hey, I've recognized this before. It's like from Wonderland's War Art. So it's another game in the line from Druid City Games. And this game is basically, they describe it as a reveal and write game. So the box basically has 4 pencils and a giant pad of paper in it and a deck of cards. Well, and a little cardboard thing with a little queen miniature that moves around in a circle. The game is played over 3 rounds, I believe, 3 or 4 rounds. And you deal everyone 9 cards. You are going to play 7 of those cards, and the 2 cards you have left, you're going to tuck and keep face down in front of you. And at the end, so it is 3 rounds because you're going to have 6 cards at the end, and you get points based on your poker hand at the end of the game. So you take 5 of the 6 cards and you can score points based on that. The rest of the time, what you're doing is you're putting a card in the middle and flipping it face up. There will always be 4 cards in the middle. So we played with 3 players. So there was a dummy card we got to see flip up. So we knew kind of where that was going to be. Then everyone flips face up. And this is a normal deck of cards. I have the promos. There's like 2 jokers in there, and I'll explain what they do here in a minute. But we all flip the cards up and we compare them. The game starts on the queen. So queens are the highest suit. So any hearts are going to beat anything else. And then you go clockwise around this thing. So I think it's hearts, spades, diamonds, clubs, I think is the wheel. And so in that area, clubs, even if you had the ace of clubs, it would lose to the 3 of diamonds because that suit is just lower than all the other suits. And so then someone has the high card, someone has the low card, and then 2 people could have the middle card. And there's 3 parts of your board that you write on. And if you had the high card, you get to fill it in the top. If you had the low card, you fill it in the bottom. And if you had the middle, you fill it in the middle area. And the top part, you're trying to fill in these mushrooms, I think. And there's red and black. And then there's one in the middle that's red and black. So you can only fill in, like the mushrooms, you can only fill in the colored mushroom based on the color you played. And they all have to be different numbers inside that each mushroom. The middle one, you're trying to fill in all these like colored like fluff ball things. I can't remember exactly what they are. And you're trying to surround points in there to get points. And in the bottom one, there's 2 sides of a maze, and there's the red and the black, and you make marks going towards the middle of that. And those are kind of the 3 mini games you're playing. At the end of the game, you just get points from all those areas. You get points based on, you can find all these Wonderlandian creatures, and if you've done the thing to achieve them, you have marked them off, and like you get points based on how many of those you got, and then you get points based on your poker hand. This game is really fun. It's really fast, and like it's really thinky to be like, okay, I want to play this card. Where's it going to land between medium, high, and low, and what you want to shoot for? The promos I got are kind of cool. They're the Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and they're red or black. And one is always high and one is always low, no matter what. So
Those are the jokers.
yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. This game was like sub $30, I think. It was, if you like that kind of thing and you like rolling rights or flipping rights, this is definitely a different take on that. It kind of felt to me a little bit like Fliptown, sort of, only simpler.
Yeah, because you're basically flipping a card that everybody uses.
Yeah, and in this one, it's like you're actually trying to guess what other people might flip. And you don't really think about it, but like the difference in our game was the poker hand at the end. So the person, like, they ended up going and like nailing a straight flush, and they won because they did that. And whereas the other 2 of us were kind of like, we weren't really thinking about our poker hands until the second hand, and they're like, okay, we'll figure it out.
Is it like the person that has the best hand gets 5 points, or is it?
No, like,
Okay, if you get a straight flush, you get 20 points.
Yeah,
right?
I don't remember what they are, but there's definitely higher value points for the better hands. And they're all chunks of points. So you can get a lot of points in a lot of different ways in this game.
Sounds cool.
All right, tonight on the podcast, we played How to Save a World. It came out in 2025. It is currently ranked 3,429th. In How to Save a World, you work on different projects, each with a razor-thin chance of saving a world. Well, we'll talk about that later. The game is 1 to 4 players, best at 3 and 4, 60 to 90 minutes. The weight is 3.15 out of 5, ages 14 plus. The designer is Yuval Grinspun. The artist is Fahed Alrahi. and Tithy Ludthong, and Burnt Island Games is the publisher. I say, good old Yuval, he has 3 total games, Viridia and Familiar Spirits. That name has not been on the tip of my tongue before. It is currently ranked 7.6 on Board Game Geek, which I think I missed that part. Anyway, Jake, you want to tell us what we're doing in How to Save a World?
Yeah, so essentially there is a giant asteroid. Is that what it is? Meteor?
Asteroid.
Sure. Coming at the planet that we are all on, and there basically the idea is there are 3 different thoughts for what we need to do. One is shoot the asteroid with a giant laser to break it up. One is that we build a laser shield to be able to deflect and protect the planet. And then the third one, which is kind of the contingency, is leave the planet. So on your turn, you're going to do one of 3 things. You can either spend 1 battery to move a shuttle that is located on the moon to the Earth, or vice versa. You can play a card from your hand, which primarily are going to let you either gain resources or work on one of the projects. Or you can use one of your shuttles to move them from a ready space to an active space. Out on the board, there are spaces that upon choosing them, it will shoot you to the other one next time. So like there are Earth actions that'll move you into the moon area. Michael is playing with something wet. Sorry, I'm laughing because his reaction is hilarious. Every time he touches it, he shakes his paw. Sorry. Caca. Although I don't know that he's done, I'm probably going to laugh again. Okay, there are actions that on each the moon and the Earth that are going to move you to the other one at the beginning of next round, and there are ones that allow you to stay there. More or less, all of your actions are either a combination of gaining resources or gaining cards, and then working on the different projects. At the end of each round, once everybody has passed, you are going to pull a number of cubes that matches the threat level at the bottom of the board, and then that is going to start to seed different tracks. And then at the end of the game is queued once the asteroid is going to hit the planet. And based on the number of cubes that have worked their way onto that track, that helps determine which one is going to be the premier project. So once the game end is queued, which is done by the asteroid reaching the end of a track, or one of the 3 projects having enough cubes that it reaches that same indicator, the end of the game, you're going to draw 10 cubes, and you're basically going to see, based on the cubes of that color and the asteroid cubes, if you reach the goal for the laser first. If you do reach the goal, then the laser is the most important project, and the person who's the furthest on that track gets the most points, or the one for that track is awarded the most. Then it goes to the laser shield. So you do the same thing. You pull 10 cubes. If it reaches from what you had previously built to the end, then the person who has the furthest on the laser shield track is going to win. And then if that's not successful, then the person who's the furthest on the leave the planet track is going to get the most points. There aren't a ton of ways to gain points, but there's also some end game scoring cards that can modify that result as well. And I think that is How to Save a Planet.
All right, let's get to the table and come back with our thoughts on How to Save a World. All right, we're back. Initial thoughts time here on the Board Boys podcast. I'd like to start it off with the difference between meteoroids, meteors, meteorites.
I think that'd be great.
And asteroids. So asteroids are largest, and they're larger than 1 meter across, it says, and they normally orbit the sun, right?
Like the asteroid belt between,
Yeah, between Jupiter and
Mars.
Yeah.
Yes.
So meteoroids are usually small rocks traveling through space, and then meteors are when they actually go through the Earth's atmosphere, and they usually burn up. That's when they're called meteors. And then meteorites,
it's what remnant makes to Earth, right?
That is correct.
Yep.
So the more you know.
Meteor is the correct answer then, not asteroid.
No, I think asteroid is the correct answer.
Yeah.
I don't think a meteor, because if it hit the Earth, it'd be a meteorite.
But it's a meteor in space when it's going to collide with Earth.
Yeah, I mean, but I think an asteroid is just an asteroid. So I don't think a meteorite would ever be big enough to be world ending.
Definitely not.
But an asteroid would be.
But if so is asteroid more the position of it, more so than the movement?
I think so.
Because if an asteroid is relatively stationary in the orbit of the sun, then it's not going towards a planet.
Yeah, so for an asteroid, it had to be a really big meteoroid.
Okay.
I think.
Well, the color text says it's an asteroid the size of a small country.
Okay.
On the board game
talking
geek
like
page.
Liechtenstein. We talking.
Well,
I think if it's more than one
I
or
think
2 miles
Liechtenstein
across,
is
it's a world.
I think Liechtenstein is a tiny country. I think Greece is a small country. You know what I mean?
I just really like in Armageddon when they go up there and blow it up.
Razzie winner Bruce Willis for that film.
I know we've talked about this before. I don't know. As a child, I remember really liking that movie. And I watched it and I thought it held up pretty well. I don't know.
I just recently read a list of Razzies, and there were some ones that the same movie was nominated for Oscars and Razzies.
Oh, really?
There's a couple instances of that.
And I think sometimes like they become like cult favorites like
Yes.
later on, or they become like a cult classic kind of deal.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
But also sometimes the Razzie is like they give it to somebody who's a good actor because they phoned it in versus like just a straight up bad actor, right?
Yeah. I would say most of the time it's probably that because, there's all kinds of little small movies that nobody knows about where you might not have great performances and those don't get Razzies.
All right. Well, let's get into our initial thoughts here. For me, I knew this is from Burnt Island Games, which really my first game that kind of got me to notice them. I hadn't really paid super close attention. I knew that they had some titles out. And we had the previous review of Endeavor Deep Sea, and I really, really liked that one. And so when I saw that this one had come out and I had missed the Kickstarter, I was like, I'm going to give it a shot because the title sounds fun. And like their art style looks good. So that's what initially Endeavor is what drew me in to wanting to check the game out in general.
Yeah, same for me. I think it came out pretty close to right after we did our episode, right? Or
very simple. Yeah,
so like
close.
Endeavor was hard to get right away, I believe. So it was
the collector's edition for sure.
So yeah, it was circling around our group at the same time. So, but the art style was kind of like, I don't know. I think you mentioned it that it looks like the Happy Little Dinosaurs or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, this will be whatever. But I was happy to play it because it was Burnt Island, and then I really liked Endeavor. So yeah,
future spoiler for when we get to the throwback. I have not played Endeavor. I really need to play that game because everybody speaks really highly of it, and it's in the top 100 games, which is wild. That moved up pretty quickly. So I, having not played Endeavor, literally did not realize that this game existed until Rob said, hey, let's do this on the podcast. So then I borrowed it. As Tim alluded to as well, I guess I maybe had seen the cover, but I just assumed it was like an Exploding Kittens, Happy Little Dinosaurs. So I did not pay any attention to it through that.
Just
year.
from like the font.
Yes. I mean, the cover literally looks like one of those games. Like it's same big white letters, colorful.
Yeah. The font definitely makes it look like a casual game, like a comedy game, kind of.
And I think I don't know, but the first thing Cam said, is this a co-op? It looks like that, right? So
yeah, I mean, we're trying to save a world, right? But we want to be the best at saving the world.
Cam, what first thoughts for you?
Yeah, my initial thoughts when I saw the box was like, oh, this is like a goofy co-op game. And then when I sat down and looked at the stuff, I was like, oh, this looks like Terraforming Mars on Mars. Looks like Evacuation. It looks like every one of those games that's kind of similar. And when we get into the thing, I think it has a ton of the DNA of the genre of games of where you're doing projects in space, or sci-fi, doing projects like as scientists in some type of science fiction or like near future scenario.
All right, well, let's get into the review a little bit. I think for pros, I like the aesthetic of the game. I think all the iconography is super easy to get into. Similar to Endeavor, like I guess I would guess Endeavor was about this weight-ish.
Maybe a little heavier. There's a lot more symbols in Endeavor.
Yeah, but both rule books were fairly short and concise, and like I think the rule book for this game with all the extra stuff and indexes and things are like 15 pages.
It's not heavy, and I will say, but kind of prawn category. It's a really accessible rule book. Reading through it, I felt like I completely knew how to play by the time I finished. However, going back to find things, I struggled. So I couldn't easily find the areas I was looking for. So pro and con there, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, and there's multiple editions of this game. We played with like the deluxe one today, which has like slightly nicer pieces.
There, pager.
No, it's Bo's cell phone.
Nice. Does it have Snake?
I don't know. I think it's got something.
I think my favorite pro is the boost cards. So there is a whole type of card that you can play. So there's yellow cards that are action cards. They're just another turn you can take. And then there are blue cards that are boost cards. So these are never cards that you can just play like on your turn. It is when there is a certain circumstance has been reached, you can play it from your hand. And so it is really the way that you can wobble in this game. So by planning those cards around the actions that you're aiming to take, or I guess the rewards you're aiming to obtain, you can eke out some extra things on a turn, and those feel good. So the first time I played this was a 2-player game, and I was able to basically take an action, utilize boost cards to make it exactly what I wanted it to be, even if I wouldn't have necessarily had all of the inputs prior to that. So they're just a fun little wrinkle, I think, for how you can kind of, again, wobble around to get to the things you want to do.
All 3 cards are cool. Like those are great. The instant action, like, or not, the action, you take the action, do the things. Like, those all have interesting things to them. Like, I had one that let me redo a worker, and then the green cards are cool. Like, they have a bunch of tags on them and their end game scoring, but the card buying is a little bit awkward for me. I don't know, but you basically spend a resource for every card that you already own to buy the next card you need. So they get really expensive, which I thought, I don't know. Some reason I just have a hard time keeping track of like how many cards I have and got to count them all out. Like, all right, then I need this many resources. 7, 8, 9 resources gets to be a lot. So,
well, especially because they count whether they're in your hand or discard pile, and those are there's not many games that do that. I don't feel like utilize both, so I think that makes it a little bit weird. And then there's some technologies you can get to minimize the cost for those, but
yeah, like it's not just the yellow cards you have when you're buying yellow cards, every card that you have. So it's just a little bit.
Yeah, and it also takes an action to get the card, and there's an action space, and this is a big pro for me. I like how there's action spaces that just kind of can give you the thing if you need it, but also if you're building an engine in a certain way based on tags you've got, so you can get more stuff. So like if a bunch of certain tags, you can go and get a bunch of resources with one action, or you can get a bunch of this. And there's one where you can buy more than one card at a time, which seems insane to me.
You got to have resources
because
for
of
days.
how expensive they are. So, I mean, I get why this game has the weight it does, because I think to play it well, there's definitely like a learning curve to that. You could just ho-hum play this game and get through it and do something. But I think you could also play this game and just get smoked by somebody that knew how to maximize things and get a bunch of tags and do a bunch of stuff.
I think there's a fun push and pull in that as well. Of basically all of your tags, whether they're in cards or they're the individual tag tokens, when you utilize them is how you repeat actions, as Rob was just kind of alluding to. So whether it's working on the projects, most of the cards are going to allow you to work on it one time. Half of the action spaces on the board are going to allow you to do it one time. But if you do the subsequent option, which is flipping tags, you're going to do it that number of times. You kind of are, when is the right time to flip my tags to be able to utilize that? And I think that's kind of a fun push and pull as well.
So I think maybe my favorite thing about this game is I think it's deceptively, like, it's complex looking, but it's not that complex to play. But as you start planning out your strategy for the game, you realize that the entire thing is making choices where you can do one thing and move forward on a path that feels good, whether it's buying into a track or getting technology or getting a new card or, taking some of those new action spaces that come up. But you're doing it at the expense of not being able to do something else that would also feel good to do. And so as you kind of craft out your game, it makes you excited for the next time you play where you could try something else. And of course, like my favorite thing in games that makes me like lay in bed and think about it in the night is like wishing that I'd, developed a different thing. And this game does that really well, where every action you take gives you like a dopamine of progress, but also the regret of like what you maybe could have done instead. And I think the balancing act there is really efficient, and the game runtime, it coincides with that, which was really, really pleasant at like an hour and a half.
I got a couple pros for me. So one, I like the ship movement. I think it kind of scratches a little bit of the same itch as like on Mars, or you haven't played Evacuation, Jake, have you?
I have not played Evacuation.
Like Evacuation, where you're trying to manage 2 different locations and things kind of go back and forth, but it is way less complicated than both of those games.
100%.
So like it still gives you the feel of like being clever without having to like completely bust your brain. Especially on Mars, I felt like was just like almost too much to manage to like figure out where you needed to be. And then, when you bump a track, I really like that there is a bonus on the track. And as you are the first person to bump up the track, you kind of get like lower bonuses. So if someone shoots up a track, it costs more to go up the track. The bonuses are lower, and then everybody else's bonuses get better as it like costs less to go up. So like you kind of uncover these tiles that give better bonuses. So like there's a good mix between, do I want to bump up this track, get the cubes in the thing, get them out of the bag, and take the lower bonuses and let my opponents have, a free tech or a better tag or something like that from bumping up the track. I think that's an interesting conundrum.
Yeah, I think that's super neat. I think I didn't know that it was that big of a pro for me until we played this game of it, and now I've seen it happen a bunch of different ways. Just those tracks in general. So as you move up, you only get that bonus one time, no matter how many you move up. But being able to like save up and use one, because you only have 3 real actions with your workers during the round. And then, I mean, if you buy more of those yellow cards, you can do more actions like that, right? But like the big actions on the board where you save up a bunch of things and use a bunch of tags and you move up the laser track 4 times and you put 4 cubes in the bag with one thing, that feels really good to grow and do those big actions instead of just dinking and dunking. But when you do that, you only get the end row bonus one time. And then at the end of every round, you're drawing cubes out of the bag to fill up the thing, and also asteroids for how much the asteroid is going to move. And when the asteroid gets to the end, that's how the game normally ends, I think, unless you really crush a track. I think I've seen it end that way too. If somebody gets to a spot on the track, that'll
My
end
2-player
it too.
game ended that way.
Yeah. So the variability in game length is what makes this game interesting, and that is very thematic to me because, like, you don't know maybe how fast this thing's coming for you, and like things that could speed it up, or that like we don't have the technology to know impact in X time or whatever. We're not entirely sure. And just depending, like, so tonight, Tim drew a bunch of asteroids out of the bag early instead of other cubes. And that just kind of ramped the whole thing to maybe end earlier than maybe it would have normally.
Yeah, because when you push the asteroid down, you hit spots where you put more black cubes in. So, like, it kind of snowballed itself to, like...
A little bit.
Yeah.
Like, the thing was over halfway there, and we hardly had any cubes on the thing. And you're like, well, what is going to happen here? And I think I've had the shield and the laser win most of the time. And I think this is the first time I've seen the evacuation go off. And just that tenseness of drawing the cubes out of the bag and like the randomness to make sure you're not sure what's going to happen on those tracks is interesting. Like if it shook out where like almost every time that was how it happened, it would be far less interesting. Like the laser by all rights probably should have won today and it didn't.
Right.
And then that helps the shield, which is cool. If it gets close but doesn't make it all the way, it chipped away at it. So some of those cubes go down there and help the shield. And the shield was one off. But you put the cubes back in the bag, so we drew a bunch of pink cubes when we were trying to draw the blue cubes, and that screwed the blue track. So not knowing what's going to happen, and ultimately, Cam, I don't think, was the leader on... Well, he's the leader on the blue track, which didn't win, and he won tonight.
I had a bunch of bonus cards.
Yeah.
I got like 17 points off of those.
Yeah, so ultimately, like, being the leader of the track that wins the game hasn't necessarily been the winning strategy that I've seen.
The leader of the track.
I think and what hurt me tonight was I never moved off the green track at all, and so I didn't even get any points for that one. So having to move up a little bit on all of them to kind of dink and dunk points for all 3 tracks is important. And then also the green cards, and also just scoring points during the game, because there's all kinds of ways to kind of dink and dunk them. I don't know, in a game where there's not that many points, I mean, we play games where you score hundreds of points, and in this one, 50 is like a really good score. Every little thing matters, and I like that. It's nice to play a smaller point game, I guess, where things seem to matter more.
If designers had more balls, most games would have that kind of economy, I think. But everyone wants to see all their points, and they cry about Arc Nova when they get negative 12 points for that in the end of the game.
Yeah,
and then Arc Nova capitulates.
Well, I had a middle school teacher. He was a history teacher, and all of his scores, his tests were like 700-800 point tests, and we all didn't really we just realized he was just adding a 0 to everything.
That's why pinball did that too.
It makes it more fun.
That was the thing with pinball.
Oh, I got 750 points on this test.
Yeah, that's why they started making like pinballs go into like the trizillions instead of pinball makers just realized that people would literally pay more money for like play their pinball machine more if they just put 2 zeros on the end of everything you can score instead of 1 0 or whatever. I don't know if you guys are ready to move to cons, but I don't know if I'm dealing with a baby, so I don't know if you guys said, but like the best idea in this game that is its own, and so here's the final pro, and I want to take it right into a con after that, is this game has a unique idea that is phenomenal, and it's the how the planet is saved mechanism. That not only like you can finish off saving the planet, during the game, but also if the game comes to an end, there's a flow chart on how we decide what actually worked, and it's interesting and unique, and that's the best idea. That's the best new idea in this game. Now, here's the con of this game is that it is cobbled together from a bunch of fun ideas that you have 100% played before multiple times, and it's like there's nothing really that original in any of the things you're doing. There's like the on Mars loop or evacuation or whatever. There's cards that are reminiscent of all sorts of really good games. Now, these are all executed well, and I think this game is really fun, but ultimately this game just kind of feels like another game in a genre of games that are very similar because of all the stuff they do together. And that, to me, that's not bad. Like, I had a really fun time playing this game, and I would play it again. And spoiler from the final thoughts, like, there would be room for it on my shelf, but like, it felt so much like a terraforming Ark underwater on Mars. Like, again, I mentioned a bunch of games that it was similar to because it takes a lot of those same ideas and does them well, and only kind of has, like, I think one thing that sets it apart, which is enough in my opinion. But there you go.
I mean, it's also half the amount of playtime than almost every single one of those games.
Yeah, man, I love that. And like, it is kind of like is this the Eclipse, people say that was kind of like the Twilight Imperium, light, but even though they're not very similar games. But like, hey, can I get this kind of feeling I love out of a shorter game? And yeah, 100% you can. And this game's cool. Like, I would play it again, and I would probably own it. So
Yeah, I mean, my other pro, and I maybe kind of talked about it, was just the cards. And I like that there's the three different kinds, like the one that's an action, the one that is just when you do something, you get more stuff. Those are really cool. That's something that I don't see in a lot of games, I guess, that particular card.
You know what? Reusable cards, too, is unique. And actually, that increases the creativity of the game to me, is that you get all your stuff back every round. So never mind.
It's kind of like
really
a Ruins of Arnak there, but the way that the boosts work is really unique. I definitely
Arnak
haven't
is like
seen
a
other
deck
games.
builder. This is like where you get all your stuff and you get to play all of it. So it's not like, am I going to have to like time it out?
There are build strategies in Ruins where you do play all your cards. Every time as well,
But it's not you run through your deck, you shuffle your discard and put it back in your hand.
You always have all your choices all the time.
Yeah,
and I guess that's why cards are so expensive.
Mm-hmm. And you get to finish the round on them. You're not like, oh, geez, well, I only get to play this card once because of the timing, before I refresh my hand or like the way the deck works or whatever. You have all your cards and you use all of them every round.
And it's nice that cards go into your hand upon buying them. A lot of games, they go into your discard pile or on the top of your deck if it's a deck builder. So whatever you are choosing, you can deliberately choose to help set up, what you're trying to accomplish that round.
Yeah, and I feel like before this game, I've been undervaluing green cards a little bit. And I think it's because I always forget that they have so many tags on them. And those tags are a big deal. And if you don't have them on your board, at least using them from your green cards is fantastic.
And you get to score them at the end, too, if you're doing tag scoring.
Exactly.
Which I never did. I should have grabbed a tag card, too.
I got a couple cons, I would say. I think there are things that kind of in the same, realm as Cam was talking about. I think there are things that are unique and fun about this, but I don't necessarily love when games are a mix between get resources, spend resources. And that's the entirety, basically, of what it is that you're doing. And in this case, yes, there's cards that can kind of change a little bit when and how you do those things. But basically, you're getting resources and then you're spending them on one of the three projects. And so, I don't know. I don't know sustainability-wise whether that would continue to be interesting to me. And on that same note, I just don't also feel like, sure, I can do the laser shield this time, whereas I did the laser to break it next time. There's not really that many different ways to approach this game. You're more or less just doing the same thing each time. Just the track you go down might be a little bit different. And I don't feel like that fundamentally changes the way you play the game that much. And sure, you can build some cool engines with tags and with cards, but it seems like it's pretty much always going to be the same. Which, maybe that's not a big deal for some people, but it's something that I don't know about. I also personally, this is a Jake thing, not necessarily a objective game thing. I don't love it when games kind of encourage you to just take an action once to get a windfall of points because other people haven't taken it. This game is that kind of in spades in the end of, hey, I can get up into second on this track by doing this one bump at the end of the game. And so I don't love that stuff, and that's pretty apparent and kind of important too. Like, I mean, I guess it didn't make a huge difference, but Tim, on one of your last turns of the game, you dropped into the column that won, and that netted you quite a few points, but
5 points.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I guess
not negligible in...
Sure, but also there are cards that give you 5 points. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say it was 18. So
5 points is 10% of a winning score tonight.
sure, yeah.
So that's pretty meaningful.
But I could
Especially
have got
because
a
green cards,
card.
you got to work at though. Like unless a card just naturally falls into what it is that you have done already, which happens. That's not. You're probably not getting it that easy. 5
Yeah, I
points,
mean,
that is.
basically all the. Well, I think I got 5 points on 3 of my cards and like 3 points on one of the. But like I basically saw them and then went and did the things. Like I was already geared towards them, but then I had to go do extra stuff to eke them out. You know what I mean? So that felt good to do the work and get rewarded. And like 5 points didn't seem like a lot. I'm like, man, I'm really working hard to get 1 extra point here. But then when we laid out the scores, I was like, oh, that's like getting 10 points in another game or whatever. So it felt pretty good.
One last thing, and this is definitely more the prawn category. I think thematically, the way the game ends is perfect for what the game is trying to accomplish. However, I do think that because of that and because of the semi-randomness of the way that the cubes get pulled, this is very much a game for somebody who is more invested in the way that the theme plays out than it being a Euro-like experience where I can kind of know my actions are going to be worth it. And again, I don't think that's a real con because there's a lot of people who that is what they're looking for in games, but I definitely think that's something to know about it upon going in.
All right, final thoughts time. Here on the Board Boys podcast, we have a 3 boing rating scale, 0 being the worst, 3 being the best. Half boings are allowed. Your favorite game ever is 4 boings. A 0 boing game of How to Save a World is, I think, what happened tonight. We had to leave the planet.
That's the 4 boing, or that's a 0
That's
boing?
a 0.
0 boing is the planet gets destroyed and you're still on it.
Sure.
Your shuttle gets blown up by.
We didn't actually even
You-
evacuate.
Yeah, you just run into it.
You just You're playing how about you're playing the game and an asteroid lands on your table?
Yeah, there you go.
The 3 boing is, I mean,
Armageddon.
we shoot it out of the sky with a laser.
Yeah, we blow it up and it goes around the world.
It's fine.
Maybe an expansion can be the actual Armageddon taking a drill to the asteroid hurtling towards Earth, and you trying to chop it into 2 halves to split it.
All right.
Why is there not Armageddon the board game?
Well, Armageddon stuff isn't that the song that got us?
Yeah, probably.
Got us.
It was Aerosmith, right?
Yeah,
That was the.
I'm pretty sure it was.
We never got in trouble for kazooing that tune. I don't want to miss a thing, that was the big one. We did a big kazoo that tune episode where we ended it on like 2 minutes of I don't want to miss a thing.
Yeah.
We got in trouble because I put, what was that big first Aerosmith song? And in our
Civolution.
Sweet Emotion.
Okay.
I used like 2 minutes of Sweet Emotion.
I actually think that they flagged that episode because 2 people gave their 4 boings in it, and they were like, nope, this episode didn't exist.
Can't do that. All right, well, we'll hit final thoughts. I'll go first. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the tracks because I do like tracks, and I think the tracks in this game are phenomenal. They do some stuff that I don't really see in other things, I guess. I mean, you want to be the farthest. As you push up there, you're contributing to that project, so they go in bags. You get points for being first.
Gets super expensive.
It gets super expensive. You also give people a bonus. If you're ahead of them, then they're going to get stuff. And I like the gamification of, like I said earlier, you want to be on all of those. Like you don't, like today, I got 0 on 1. That's real bad. So putting yourself in a position to at least score on all of them, even if you don't get first, is a big deal. And so it makes you kind of have to think about maybe doing everything.
Counterpoint, I also totally ignored the pink track.
I was the only one to score all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't play that well. Then I think that's the reason why I got second place.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think if you get second in all of them, it puts you in a pretty good spot. Anyway, I think the tracks and how the game ends and how you decide what the winning project is, that is what makes this game unique and fun for me. And also, I think the cards, I got more into the cards tonight, and those were super cool. I think this is getting a half boing bump for me. I think I'm going to go 2.5 on it. I don't know why I don't play this game more. Oh yeah, I do. I have way too many games. But this is one that, like, I think I could play with a lot of people. I understand that it says it's a 3 weight, but it feels accessible to me.
Yeah, I would have pegged it at 2.5 because I think anybody could learn it. And yeah, I think you're right about that.
All right, I'll go next. For me, when I'm playing the game, it's very fun and I like playing it. I think it just gets lost in the mud of, that it does have a lot of similar things. The tags, the spaceships moving around, a space theme game. It kind of just, like, I feel like it just gets it's like you said, we don't play it that often. It kind of just is one of those games that's like just lost in the background. So for me, it's 2. But once it cuts down on the table, like I would never be like, we should play this game. It would never come to my head to do it. But like once it's on the table, I think it's fun. So I think for me that lowers it to half boring. Then, the tracks are very fun. And I like moving the ships and stuff. I think that's cool.
For me, I kind of alluded to in the cons, there's some things that I don't necessarily love about the game, ultimately just that don't align with the way that, or the things that I look for in games. I really like the boost cards. I think that's really unique, but there's just, as Tim kind of said as well, there's just nothing super memorable to me about this one. So
besides the giant 8-inch asteroid.
Okay, yes, component-wise, there's something very memorable about this game, but that's about. But then again, if I played the basic one that was cardboard, I don't know that I'd be into that.
Throw in the trash.
Yep. So for me, I'm probably between a 2 and a 1.5, but I don't think I ultimately enjoy its cohesive whole enough to be a 2, so I'm going to give it a 1.5 for me.
I guess that leaves me. I do think we should commemorate or memorialize another famous board boy saying that we haven't had one in a while, but I really like when Jake said, I didn't play very well tonight, and I think that's why I got second place.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, maybe that is why.
No, that is not what I said.
No, I know. You were saying something else, but the sentence you said was that, and you were finishing up one thought and starting another thought. And it was just really funny. It was a really funny, like, you could like cut and paste that out of what you said, but that's not what you meant.
I was saying the mechanisms of the game allowed my not great play to still get second with the way that things score.
That is definitely not what you said, though.
That is what I was trying to say.
You said, I didn't play very well, so that's why I got second.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear that. That is not what I meant.
But you explained what you were saying, but like the exact sentence it was like a run-on sentence where you were putting two thoughts together, and it was just a funny moment. I have actually been thinking, like, when I was going con, like, there's not that many unique things about this game. I've been finding more and more things that I think are really compelling. And when Rob was talking about the tracks, and he brought up something I thought was really neat during the game, and that's that you get points for being like further up the track, both during the game and at the end of the game. However, you're making it easier for other people to get better rewards for going up the track, which is like almost the antithesis of how tracks work in a lot of games. But it's kind of how real life works. Because you get the name recognition and the clout, as it were, the renown, like the things that would be a star, that you earn in a board game, like prestige, right? Or renown or anything else you could call points. But like when technology is created, everybody else gets to go get that stuff cheaper and better. And like if you're like a Johnny come lately to a developed thing, you already have access to like what the Trailblazers did. And like, so this is like one of the only track systems that kind of works like real life. And so I really love that. And for that reason, I'm giving this game a 2.5, because I said it only did one thing really unique, but it does do more than one thing unique. And I think it does 3 or 4 things that a lot of other games don't do. And it kind of makes me want to go get it. So there we go. How to Save a World 2.5.
Also, I would throw this on the pile of games that I've yet to win, and I still really like.
I mean, that pile is big. All right.
I still haven't won Druids of Fedora.
That makes sense. You take too many. Taking 5 of those actions.
Actually, hold on. I might have won last time I played. I don't know.
See.
I'm trying to kick those off. But I played that. That's the game that I probably played the most, the longest it took me to win one.
Yeah.
That game is For Sale for me. I've never won For Sale, and I've played it so many times.
For Sale is awesome. And
I think you were sailing Druids of Fedora.
No,
that's what I heard too.
The game For Sale is my game that I played the most. Yeah. No, I like my Druids.
All right, so we like to look back 1 year in the past at the game we played then. It's Endeavor Deep Sea. Cam, you want to hit us with the theme song?
I think Gabby does. Gabby's talking more than she ever has. She's enjoying being on a podcast. Gabby, do you want to sing the bumper dump song? Baby, turn around. I want to see that little baby go.
Bump, bump, bump.
You say something?
She just licked the microphone.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. You use it. So
Board Boys bump.
It was close. It was close. All right. So if you'd like to give us feedback, you can do so through our Board Game Geek Guild, which you can find through on the website. We got a bunch this time. So Ben R., this has been a hit every time it's hit the table, both cooperative and competitive. I really like the variety in the scenarios and goals. It's fun to flip new tiles out on the board. It's fun to move up the tracks and upgrade your crew. A very approachable and entertaining game. 3 boings. Christopher Boat, I like this version so much more than the original. Traveling around the board and discovering new locations is exciting. Upgrading your personal tableau is strategic and satisfying. 2 boings. BJ from Board Game Gumbo, he too likes this version more than the original, even though he does like the original. I love the theme and the game. It was beautiful to boot. Very intriguing. Need to play this game again. 2.5 points, maybe 3 with more plays. Francisco C. This game was very loved at the beginning, but after 10 to 15 plays, it did get a bit samey, especially after finishing the 10 scenarios. From a 3 boing down to 2.5, but really looking forward to the expansion. It could bring it back up. David Moore, I really like this game, but building your crew up and the abilities was very satisfying. The theme, variability, and easy to learn mechanisms make this an autoplay when given the opportunity. 2.5 boings. Nate Simons. Still a solid game, but I would never turn down a play for. Just got it back to the table a couple months ago, and it feels like a brand new game every time I play it with the variability, board tiles, and the layout and the different research boards. Can't wait to get the expansion for this one. Endeavor, Deep Sea, Uncharted Waters, 3 boings. Jeremy Thoman, I really like this game. Moving your subs around creates some interesting decisions. I like discovering new tiles, especially the ones that are deeper. There are some fun combos to be had, but they don't seem to be as hard to pull off as some heavy combo wombo games. The rules teach is not bad. The variety of different scenarios helps change the focus and what scores. Upgrading the crew members makes a good choice. 3 boings. So a lot of 3 and 2.5s.
Everybody loved that one, huh?
It's super fun.
It's super good. I played it a few times since then and still love it. I played it cooperatively once, and it's really hard.
Is it?
I honestly don't remember what you do You're trying to like
Fun goals.
meet these goals and stuff. I think we won the co-op game, but I felt like it was tough. And just the different scenarios, like I've just played the scenarios a bunch of, like, I don't know that I played all of them, but I played a bunch of different ones, and some of them just play super different.
Cards or doing this thing, diving are all different.
We played one where we didn't even want to go really that deep, so like we just had this really super long, shallow setup, which was interesting. My one downside of that game is...
Well, there we go, guys. Gabby's officially up past her bedtime, so...
The one downside I have with this game is it's just a weirdly like large layout. Like there's no board to the game, but you got to build the board. Like if you end up having like a fully explored board, like the thing's gigantic, and then everyone has their own little player area. It's pretty big.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to another episode of the Board Boys Podcast, Season 19, Episode 3, How to Save a World by Burn Island Games. Remember, we still have the contest going on to win that copy of Revenant. Go back and listen to our Revenant episode for more information on that. You can go to theboardboys.com/giveaways. You can also go to theboardboys.com to check out our Instagram links, to join our Discord, to support us on Patreon, or go to iTunes and Spotify to give us 5-star reviews there. We'd much appreciate it. I'd like to thank our patrons now: BJ from Board Game Gumbo, Timothy Crisco, Shifty Teeth, Jordan Smith, Andre Bosch, Braden Dowdy, Rob Cooper, Matt Kelly, Portland Gamecraft, Terry Ward, Captain Mark D. IV, and Jeremy Thoman. Thanks again, everybody, and until next time, we hope you like board games.
And listen, very soon there will be a party for the world. Boing, boing, boing. Can I tell a quick DJ Steve Walsh story at the end of this podcast? So on that app music league that I finally started playing after many years of it being around, I go by DJ Steve Walsh as a pseudonym, as my handle. That's what they would call it back in the old internet. It's my handle. Right. And I've been in many leagues with a lot of the same rando people that I met, and I play in a league that has like the same 20 people in it all the time. And so I've been DJ Steve Walsh for a long, long time in these leagues. And finally somebody, all these different leagues, you could have whatever theme you want for a round. And one of the rounds was your name or whatever. And so finally I got to post the only DJ Steve Walsh song on Spotify and drop that hammer on everyone. And it did not win the round, but it got a lot of love from... It should have won the round.
Should have won.
Yeah. But you know what? These people, a lot of them are they're just going to vote for actually good songs. But and I'm not saying DJ Steve Walsh is not actually good, because he's the best of all time. But not everybody has good taste. You know what I mean?
Understandable.
So DJ Steve Walsh, still the best, still the king, undisputed DJ of all time.
Boing, boing, boing.
Boing, boing, boing.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.